Well, one of my favorite senators is here. Senator Jeff Sessions, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing fine, Mark.
Are some of your colleagues losing their minds with some of their comments? I mean, that women won't be able to get birth control? I mean, are they out of their minds?
They, when you talk about cutting off funding to the largest abortion provider in America, they come in and say you want to deny women mammograms.
Right.
I mean, that's the kind of debate we've been having here lately. It's really extreme and over the top and unjustified.
So the budget this year is around $3.6, $3.7 trillion. You know, I never thought we'd reach the day you and I served in the Reagan administration where we're rounding off by the hundreds of billions now. But
yep.
And so we're talking about maybe another 38 or 40 billion in cuts. I mean, that's what they pay for paper clips. It's just stunning to me. And then we're all supposed to shiver. The federal government may shut down. Let me just say this, because I know you're in politics, and I'm not, thankfully. Social Security checks go out. Medicare continues to function. The post office is open. FBI, CIA, Border Patrol, they're all working. The military's working, although the liberals don't want to pay them. I mean, the essential aspects, this isn't a government shutdown. It's like part of the government goes away for a while, but most of the essential parts don't go anywhere.
Well, we've had it happen. You remember back in the Reagan days, we had 3 or 4 short shutdowns and many warnings that it might happen. It was all a battle over spending. It happened in the 90s under Gingrich and company, and they fought, and balanced the budget. People forget that. And then Clinton claimed credit for it. So you're right. Hopefully this won't happen. It really doesn't need to happen. We need to get a significant reduction in spending, and we need to go right into what we're going to do to reduce spending, and we can use the leverage of the debt ceiling to do that, create a balanced budget amendment, and then we've got next year's budget, and we're going to reject the president's irresponsible budget and try to pass a budget like Paul Ryan has proposed in the House. It'll actually do something. So there's a lot of battles for a lot of time, and if we stay on this, and if the American people stay on it, we're going to put this country on the right path. I believe the American people are ready. I don't think they're going to put up with these scare tactics.
No, as a matter of fact, I think the American people are so far ahead of Washington.
I do, too.
These liberals have no idea what they're in for if we hold our position. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I just talked on the floor down there. I mean, these are people that went out, and what did they know? They know this Congress is spending this country into bankruptcy. Were they wrong about that? They are absolutely right about it. Erskine Bowles has told us that. Ben Bernanke has told us that. The American people are right. The ones that are in denial are the Democrats who don't think they have to change what they're doing.
Well, I mean, and all this Washington fan dance going over, well, will it be $38 billion or $40, or will it be $37.5 billion? I mean, come on. They waste $200-300 billion. The GAO comes out with a report, overlap and duplication costs us $100 to $200 billion a year. Somebody introduced a bill in your body to say, all right, let's cut it by that amount. No, we can't do that. We've got to have this waste and fraud and abuse in the federal government. I mean, the people are so disgusted with this. I just hope that whatever is negotiated, that the Speaker of the House is very careful, that he doesn't give too much. Because I'm going to tell you something, Senator. It won't matter what you say or I say. The people are ticked off, and they want this addressed.
I agree, and that's what the election was about. I mean, there was a shellacking of the big spenders. But remember, the Republican House has proposed a great budget plan for next year, and that's historic. They reduced spending by $61 billion, which over 10 years, because it reduces the baseline, will save $860 billion of increased debt to the country. We won't incur, and it will be the largest single baseline reduction of spending in the last 30 years, if maybe longer than that.
Well, I don't buy all that, only because we've had the most massive explosion of federal spending.
You're right about that.
Let me ask you this about something.
The last 3 years, President Obama has achieved a 24% increase in non-defense discretionary spending.
And, they keep that so-called stimulus money as in the baseline. This is what amazes me. One-time emergency, shovel-ready. Then he tells us there weren't any shovel-ready jobs. Well, they keep that $700-800 billion in there every year thereafter.
It is a constant tendency to expand the government, and it takes a willful Congress supported by a strong public to reverse that trend. I think maybe it's going to take one more election, but I think the American people are going to stand firm this time.
There's something you're doing that's very exciting to me, and that's this balanced budget amendment, although I don't like the name of it because it doesn't accurately describe it. It's much more than that. It's much more important than that. Will you explain that to everybody?
Well, the Republicans have unified around a single balanced budget amendment that contains spending to a percentage of GDP. I think it's 18.6, which is the last historic 40-year average of how much the government has spent. And it provides mechanisms that don't allow tax increases to go above that percentage of the economy, and it would end this problem fundamentally, because we'd have to start living with our means, making government lean and productive, and using the money it gets more wisely.
And you also have supermajority numbers in there if people want to increase beyond what it provides for. But you have 47 Republicans who signed off on this, right?
Absolutely. Everyone signed off on it.
Any Democrats?
No Democrats on this yet. When I came here in 97, we got 66 votes. The Democrats pulled back, I think, a vote or two, and it failed by one vote to pass. So It's not something that's impossible. American people, I think, support it strongly, and we need to begin to build a groundswell movement to pass an amendment that requires us, like most states have, to live within our means. Could I mention, I tell you, one of the most outrageous things that's happening is Senator Schumer, my colleague Harry Reid, and others are out there attacking the Tea Party people, the people who stood up in this last election and said, you guys are leading us into financial oblivion and shellac the big spenders. And so they're openly attacking this and calling them extreme and radical and unsound in mind, when they're the ones that put this country in the fix we're in.
Let me tell you something.
I hope the American people realize that they are openly and directly attacking the good people who, for the first time in their lives, went out and wrote letters and marched because they were afraid for their country. That's one of the more irritating things in the
Well, Senator, let me tell you the good news in that. They've picked the fight with the wrong people. These Tea Party folks, and I've rallied with them, and I know so many of them, they're not intimidated by Schumer. Matter of fact, the more he blabs away, the more excited they become at defeating him and the majority in the Senate there. So the way I see it, and I think the way a lot of my listeners see it, is it's not between the Democrats and you Republicans. It's between these leftists and we, the people. This isn't whether or not Jeff Sessions can stop this. That's crucial. Don't get me wrong.
Yep.
But this is in our control. This is in our hands. They're fighting with us, the people. They're trying to take the future away from our kids. They're trying to take our ability to pass on the American dream to our kids and grandkids away. They are picking a fight with us, the people. And every time Schumer opens his mouth, he's underscoring that point, isn't he?
I think so. They have a different vision for America and what I believe in and what I was raised to believe in. I think it is a threat to the historical traditions of this nation. We believe in limited government, constitutional government. Words have meaning. You don't spend more than you take in. You don't spend money you don't have. These are basic American values that are oblivious, totally lost in Washington in recent years, it seems.
All right, my friend. Well, thanks for coming on, and I hope all is well with you.
Well, we'll do a good. Maybe there'll be an agreement tonight for a few more days of continuing the government, and maybe some more talks. I'm proud of Speaker Boehner. I think he stood in there firmly. We can't get...
Well, wait a minute. How do you know yet?
Well, we'll see. He's been battling. We're going down to the last minute. But remember, these guys control the Senate. No funding bill can pass that the Senate doesn't pass, as you well know.
You know, Senator, I pray to God that when we take the Senate and we have both houses, that those who keep saying we only have this, we only have that, they understand then that if we have the whole enchilada, that things damn well better get done. I'm not saying this to you.
Yeah,
I know,
right.
I know who you are, and you're solid. All right, my friend.
Keep at it, Patriot.
You too, sir. You take care. God bless you. Actually, I knew him when I used to call him Jeff. He was the U.S. Attorney for Alabama when I was Chief of Staff to the Attorney General, Ed Meese. He's a very, very dear friend of mine. But just so you folks understand, just as I predicted, all the guys that worked for Romney and Bush and Huckabee and all their friends, the little social circles, Boehner's standing is going to go up 2,500 points if he pulls this off. Maybe we can bring back Bob Dole. Now, I'm ready to be very, very supportive. We'll see what happens. But we're talking about $38 or $40 billion and this, that, and the other. I just don't understand why they don't press the case. I know what we control, but to even set the ground for the next battle, I promise them, shutting down the government is not the end of the world. You heard what Senator Sessions said. It was shut down multiple times when I was in the Reagan administration. I think it really hurt Reagan in his second campaign, didn't it? Didn't he win more states the second time than the first time? Massive landslide? Come on, folks. Don't buy into this Armageddon nonsense. My God, what are we going to do? Social Security? Open. Medicare? Open. Post Office? Open. Open, open, open. That's a crime in and of itself. What the hell are all these things doing open when you're shutting down the government? Let me put it to you this way. There will be more government activity in a so-called government shutdown than on a federal holiday. Think about it. Meanwhile, the media is all worked up and hyped up. They love it. It's like covering a football game. All right. What? We're going to close or not close? Hurry up. Get the cameras over to the Smithsonian.